She's the go-to leadership advisor for founders and CXOs navigating high-stakes transitions. Now, whether they're scaling fast, facing an IPO, or redefining their role, she helps them cut through the noise and lead with clarity. With a client list featuring people from Slack, Apple, Tesla, she knows what it takes to build influence at the highest levels. She's a multilingual, third culture thinker with a background in global health and geopolitics. And to keep it balanced, she's a certified yoga instructor as well. Welcome to the Leadership That Sells podcast, where we help you lead first and sell more. Every leader is in sales, whether you're selling products, ideas, a mission or a vision. Great sales teams need great sales leaders. And when managers bring out the best in their teams, targets get hit on time, every time, without the stress. But most sellers never learn how to lead. They either wing it or they repeat bad habits and the cycle just continues. Sales leaders need to learn practical, real-world skills from experts that fit their packed schedules. And that is why we created the Leadership That Sells Playbook course. Check it out at the Practical Leadership Academy. Sylvana Rochet, thank you very much indeed for joining me.
Paul, thank you. I am so pumped for this conversation.
So what did I miss out in your introduction?
Well, I am an adventurous cook, and it's something that I'm always working on.
Duck à la banane.
Duck à la banane? I haven't tried that one yet, but lately I'm on a kick of Asian food. I got this great, my husband got it for me actually, this great book from Lara Lee, and she has written a Pan-Asian book of cuisine, and I'm just really having a lot of fun with that.
I love my food. I'm going to get the name of that from you. I came up where is my note here? I heard this wonderful one from somebody yesterday. What was the name of this fabulous cook? The Flavor Thesaurus.
Flavor Thesaurus? Oh. What are we thesauring about?
You look up a flavor, you look up an ingredient, and it gives you all of the other things you could put into it. All the other sorts of accompaniments you could put into the Flavor Thesaurus. So that one is on my birthday list, I'll tell you that much.
Rad.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, there you go. Right, so you specialize in helping founders, CXOs through big transition points. What is the biggest blind spot, the biggest leadership blind spot you've seen in some of those moments? How do you help them get over that?
So to answer your first question, what is the biggest blind spot they have? It is about the human aspect of the transition. So okay. Yes. So they will be really on top of things, like let's say an IPO, they're really on top of all the, let's say, logistical things, the legal things, the financial things, etc. Okay, get all their ducks in a row. And they forget, because they do know this is coming, but they forget to plan for and anticipate the time, energy, and space that the human beings in their company are going to need to have to adjust to this transition. Or if you just did a layoff, another transition in the other direction. If you just did a layoff, you can't lay off half of someone's team on the Monday and by Thursday go, okay, all right, let's get right back to it. And, here's what we're going to do next, and not take into account that people on Thursday, they're still grieving. They are still dealing with their own internal emotional reactions to what just happened. And there needs to be a time for people to process that. Maybe it can be done inside the company if you have, the people in-house that can help groups and people kind of process all this individually and collectively, or you give them the resources for them to do that on their own. But there has to be an acknowledgement that the human aspect of any big transition, whether it's very exciting, right? It's an IPO, it's confetti, it's so great, or whether it is something that is more difficult, you are going to need to give time, space, and energy to the human aspect. And that will, quote unquote, slow things down a bit in the short term. But if you don't take that time, and if you don't give people that time, then you're just going to have those things kind of dragged along with you as you're trying to move forward. And it's just going to be a weight there. So acknowledge that. Acknowledge the human aspect of any transition and plan for it.
I love the fact that you spoke about the human piece and said slow, because we are analog, and analog is just organic and slower. I mean, I'm a very impatient person. I had to teach myself patience. And my learning moment was planting fruit trees. And you plant a fruit tree, and then you wait for years.
Yes.
4 years, you might get an apple, but you plant a fruit tree and you wait 4 years. And then every other year, it's an off year. So you just have to have the patience. So you teach yourself patience. Slow down. There's a lovely thing that I discovered, that the point in time where the Pennsylvania Dutch, the Amish communities in the United States, stopped playing a part of modern technology was the telephone, because they didn't want distance to come in between that face-to-face communication. And they're not anti-technology. They use technology, but they use the technology at the pace of humanity. So that they slow it the hell down, and that seems to be very effective for them. Thank you very much. And the fact that we spend so much time trying to speed things up, you end up running over people or forgetting to talk to them. I love that you said slow it down. That's beautiful.
And it will get faster later. That's the beauty of it. If you slow it down now, you will have a more energized, a more nourished, a more resourced group of people to run fast with later. But slow it down right now.
There's a quote from Mario Andretti, the race car driver. He says, it's surprising the number of people who think that the brakes are actually for slowing the car down. They're not. They're there to keep you in control. They're there to put you at the right place at the right time, at the right pace, to go into the corners at the right speed so you can come out of them faster. So you slow down to speed up. There's a book title in there. We should put that together. Slow down to speed up. Here we go. When you're talking to these people leaders, what's your go-to advice? Where do you start?
I have something that I like to call the 3 C's. And this is a really nice kind of in your back pocket when you are in the moment and you're forgetting where to start. You can start with the 3 C's, right? And there are many paths that lead to Rome. There are other, little 4 things and little 5 things that people can do. But here's mine. Mine is the 3 C's, and it's clarity, curiosity, and courage.
Okay.
Clarity comes first, because it means get clear in your thoughts, get clear in your intention, get clear on where you're going, get clear on why, get clear on what is it that I'm truly after, right? Not just outputs and KPIs, but what is the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, really, truly, when we're talking about it, right? So that's why clarity for me comes as number 1. Curiosity is about, who else can help me do this? What have we done in the past that we need to stop repeating and doing the same way? Let's get curious about new and different ways of doing this. Let's get curious about, what am I not thinking about? What am I overlooking? So the curiosity piece is what helps you put the plan together, the strategy, and execute it. And then the courage piece is key, because, and I think about that so much currently with the way things are going politically in our world and what we're seeing in geopolitics, etc. Courage is the missing ingredient. You have to be able to, at the end of the day, to have the courage to say, this may be unorthodox. This may piss off some people. But I am having the courage to say we're doing it now, and we're doing it this way because it's the right thing to do. And so the courage is a very internal piece of work for people, because oftentimes my clients will say, oof, I don't know if I have the courage to do that. And so it's about really helping them reconnect with all of those times in their life when they have had the courage to do something, to help them remember what that looked and felt like and where they got that courage from. where have they seen it in others? Oh, my grandfather, he fought in World War II, or my grandma this, or my aunt. So it's really about helping them reconnect, remember, and uncover where that courage is within themselves. Because oftentimes people will have this reaction of, ooh, I don't know if I've got the guts to do that right now.
Clarity, curiosity, and courage. I like that. If you then, start with clarity. This is this point of intention. I mean, do you have a real world example of somebody you've dealt with who helped gain that clarity and what changed for them?
I have many.
Pick a good one.
There was a client once who had they were in a place in their life where they were having a very successful career, very impressive. All their friends and family were, oh, here's my friend so-and-so, the one who does blah, 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 right? And this person was having a massive internal crisis because they felt like they had, this is going to sound so common, but like it's true. They felt like they had accomplished so much and they had done all the things that they had thought that they had wanted to do. And they didn't feel right. They actually felt worse. They felt worse than when they had started out, when they were younger. They were more energized by just more idealistic things, etc. And we worked on intention because that's what told me there was something funky going on. I said, you think you've reached all the things you wanted to reach, but you're not feeling the way you want to be feeling. We worked on intention. We did some deep, deep work together, and we discovered that this person was totally trying to please their parents, who had always compared my client to their sibling.
There you go.
And their intention, and they went, oh, my intention, I say on paper that it is to empower my teams and bring this company to greatness. And all along, my intention has been to prove to my parents that I'm just as good as my sibling.
Mm-hmm.
So when they got an awareness of that and they could get clear on what their new intention was, when it came from not a place of hurt and rejection, but we invented, what if your intention came from a place of beauty? If your intention came from a place of you choosing freely, what would that be? And that transformed how they were leading, because how they were leading in their company was very tactical and transitional, and people could feel that, right? They had learned the right things to say and all of that, but it wasn't coming from a place of intention because they didn't have a clear one.
So you pull it out, you work it out, you put it at the heart of your planning for your future. I do like that. What would be a core message? I mean, you've got these 3 C's in your back pocket, and as pillars go, they're pretty good: clarity, curiosity, and courage. Because you don't know where you're going, and you don't know how it's going to happen. There's no point being brave enough. You need to know where you're going in order to, and you build one upon the other, right? If you had 10,000 billboards and you could paint on them one message, what would that message be? Everyone would see it, whole world.
Absolutely. I mean, if I have any of my clients who ever listen to this, they're going to laugh out loud. But I would say the 10,000 billboards would say in big, humongous capital letters, what is your intention?
Mm-hmm.
We are so blindly going through our day and through our life without setting an intention. It is laughable. But something as small as, okay, so you had some friction with this co-founder of yours, and you want to have a conversation with them about what's happening. And I will sometimes be talking with a client the morning before they're going to go have that conversation with their co-founder. And I'll tell them, okay, so what are you going to talk about? And they will tell me all the grievances and how they're going to make a laundry list of all the things that the other person did, or a laundry list of what's going wrong between the two of them. Sometimes it's not always pointing fingers. Sometimes it's just a laundry list of what's going wrong. And I will say, okay, what's your intention? What do you want to walk away with when you leave that room? Crickets, right? So that's the thing. You are going out to lunch with your spouse. What is your intention? Do you want to create connection? Do you want to create some laughter? Do you want to create some fun because you've had a stressful week? You're gonna take your kids to see some kids theater. What's your intention? Is it just to take them to see some kids theater, or is it to create a beautiful memory, to have them feel your love, to have them feel your presence?
Yeah.
That's the power of intention.
There's a wonderful book called Interview with the Devil by Norman Vincent Peale. I think it's by Norman Peale. Might well be Dale Carnegie. I think it was Norman Peale. And the one thing he talks about there is that everybody drifts. Everybody drifts. And if you don't drift because you have a plan. You have something you want to do. Not necessarily goals, because goals can be challenging. Let's say you want to lose weight and you want to lose 20 pounds. The minute you start your journey, you're a failure because you haven't lost 20 pounds. Instead, you think of the system. So let's create a system where I live healthily, I exercise, and I eat well. And the outcome of that will be that I lose 20 pounds. But I'm not drifting because I'm actively doing something every day that's leading me somewhere. I'm intent on achieving something day by day by day. I'm living my system. So every day I live my system, I'm a success.
I'm getting chills in my body as you say this, because especially the weight loss topic, it's so powerful because it's so visceral, right? It has to do with the body that we live in. And if we could think about it that way, yeah, when you are in the system of whatever this weight loss thing is that you're doing, this goal that you have, but you are showing up every day with radical self-love, radical self-care, with an intention to be good to yourself, to be good to your body, to take care of your heart. Oh, that's the gold right there.
That's all it is. When you are working with people and you're trying to help them build clarity, be curious, and discover their courage, I don't think you can. I mean, there's one way you talk about bravery is not ignoring the fear, it's feeling the fear and doing it anyway. Is genuinely it. I'm absolutely shitting my pants, but I'm going to do it anyway. When you're in the curious mode and you're trying to work out what you do, who you do it with, is there a way that you help people to really understand what's going on around them? Is there something you can, what do you do?
Yeah, this is great. So curiosity is, you have to help yourself with certain ways of feeding and creating the curiosity, right? And there's something that I call X-ray listening that I like to recommend to my clients. Okay. And you know how if you've ever had, let's say a chest X-ray, just to see what was going on with your lungs, like the doctor will read the X-ray and they'll go, okay, yeah, your lungs are looking great, but has anybody ever told you there's a little thing going on over here with your heart? Or they might be like, we saw something here with your spine, right? So you went in for a chest X-ray and then you may discover other things. So X-ray listening is similar in that way. It's about widening what you think listening is and what you think you should be listening for, right? Like you may be very tunnel visioned about it. And so X-ray listening is kind of thinking of it in that way, being open to what you may discover that you didn't know you were looking for. There's a few things that help with this for X-ray listening. So number one, it's about asking better questions. What do I mean by that? Start wide, give people the opportunity to sort of show you what is calling their attention, the person who's going to, be in conversation with you. Give them an opportunity to kind of take things where they might. And then after you start wide, then you can go into more specific questions. Specific questions are amazing, but don't start with them. So you start wide, then you go specific. And when you're specific, it's not just because you're doing it as an exercise, but it's truly because you heard something that made your ears perk up and that you think the person needs to kind of uncover with you. It's not about the answer to your question also. So when you're X-ray listening, you may ask a very specific question, and the person actually doesn't answer your very specific question. They take it in another direction. So this is giving you data as you're listening about what matters to this person, what they heard, what they're really wanting to talk about. It's sometimes what they're not saying. Mm-hmm. If somebody kind of glances over that you think is kind of major, you might go, wait a minute, you just kind of mentioned that in passing, and I think there's something there, right? So things that they may be choosing to not answer, not because they're trying to be dishonest or anything, but it may tell you something about, maybe there's a reason why they have decided to glance over that, and maybe there's something to be explored there. And when you're doing the X-ray listening, as you're asking these deeper questions, as you're kind of also letting them show you where are the things that they truly care about, the things that they're highlighting. Look for what they're emphasizing, because that's going to tell you what they value. And once you get again to people's intentions, what they value, what is really at the bottom, at the foundation of what they're up to, that is going to help you better adapt to what this person needs, whether this is somebody who needs something from you or you need something from them. It could be a negotiation, right? By the way, everything's a negotiation in life, right? Even if it's not called a negotiation. You are negotiating with your spouse every day. You're negotiating with that person in traffic every day. But the more information you have about the other person, the more that's going to help you adapt to how to be in relation with them. So that's what X-ray listening is about. It's really widening, letting go of what you think you're looking for, so that you may be then able to discover things that you didn't know you were going to find or going to discover. And it actually helps people feel more open with you when you can do those things.
So you move from me listening, which is waiting for you to shut up so I can speak and say something clever, to you listening, which is trying to dig in to understand what you're about, to we listening, which is to try and understand how we interrelate and how we can work together. Yes. The act of listening is an act of relationship building. Mm-hmm. It's not just a transaction. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, so many folk, especially in the sales game, they ask clever questions, but they don't listen to the bloody answers. Or if they do listen to the answers, that's it. They take the answer as read. And you never want the first answer. You want the right answer. Okay.
Yeah, but why red?
What are you working on? What are you working on, Sylvana?
There's so much I'm working on. Yeah. I'm working on learning more about Montessori education right now. My kids are in Montessori education, and that's very interesting and thrilling, and learning about childhood development in a way that I wasn't raised with. So that's super cool. In my work, I am working on providing an offering of transition coaching to people, not necessarily inside of a corporate structure, but it could be, an exited CEO or a VP who has gotten burned out and they have decided they're going to leave their their role, their big important role at their company. And so it's in this time, I'm finding that people are really wanting to get intentional about their life. And these are people my age sometimes, they're in their 40s, they have children, they have families, they have entire lives and identities that they've built around what they've been doing. And they're questioning, is there more to this all? And so for the past, I would say since the pandemic, for the past few years, I've had people come into these inquiries with me in the coaching. And so I'm making it official and creating and offering something that is specifically just for transition coaching on the individual level. And it's a much shorter time span. It's 4 sessions, just over a couple of months. And it really helps people hone in on that clarity of what they want. And then we work on the curiosity and the courage to take that step.
Marvelous. I think if you can get the clarity before anything happens to you, so you can own the journey. I was blessed, I can only say blessed, that I had the prompt to reflect on identity before I was made redundant. The redundancy was predictable, I could see it coming, but it was still a significant transition. But I had the moment to go back and sit and think, well, because I was Paul Morton's senior vice importantness at big company. And then the moment, the transition in your head, if it happens before that gets taken away from you, because it always does in some way, you move from being important because of this. And it's a stick, but I identify myself. I identify as Andrea's son, Catherine's husband, father to maker of, restorer of old cars, digger of onions. Oh, and I also do this business shit in the same time, right? It's really cool and I love it. But that's kind of the side gig. The main gig is life. Because if that's where your identity is, they can't take that away from me, right?
I don't have enough snaps for that.
There we go.
It's life. It's life. It's the gig is your life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Is it a book you would recommend?
Yes.
What?
My favorite book these days is The Courage to be Disliked.
And I like it already.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. It's written by 2 Japanese authors whose names I cannot recall right now. And
we'll dig it out in the show notes. We'll put a link in the show notes.
Yeah. And I listened to it with my husband in audio form. I think this is when I was pregnant with my second, and we would put it on at night. And it just blew my mind. It blew our minds. It's based on Adlerian psychology, and which is Alfred Adler's philosophy psychology approach. And he was a contemporary of Jung and Freud, but he has a counter approach to the Carl Jung and Freud approach. So it's fascinating. It's very much about courage. It's in the title. And it's brilliant. It's counterintuitive, it's unorthodox, and it will be fully liberating.
Fabulous. I mean, he was the guy who'd had the theory of individual psychology. He was the first guy, wasn't it? This importance of social connections, the sense of belonging, the drive for personal growth and all that sort of stuff.
Yes. And he's very much about, Adler is very much about, you have so much power as an individual, and you are not dictated or held prisoner by past traumas. You at any moment can choose to live into a different reality. It is possible. You're not fixed in that past trauma.
Yeah. I was Eleanor Roosevelt, that great social philosopher, right? She said, it's the reaction, right? You can choose, people can be dicks to you all day long, but it's your reaction to it. It's like water off the duck's back.
Yep. Don't give away your power.
No, totally.
Yeah, she had some good ones.
Where can people find you when they need you?
They can find me on LinkedIn is the easiest way.
We'll put a link in the notes as well.
Yeah, I'm the only person with my first and last name in the world. Should be fairly easy to find me, Sylvana Rochet.
Magnificent. Well, on that then, it just remains for me to say, Sylvana Rochet, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Paul. This was a treat.